Hello and welcome to my new channel. This is the first of my series of Roguetech. My name is Talion07. This is my new channel, obviously. First time. It's I used to do radio as a volunteer years and years ago as a radio announcer. So streaming and recording with a video is actually a little bit different, whereas speaking as far as using a microphone, announcing, open broadcast, stuff like that is nothing particularly new, but it has been a very long time. So I've probably fallen into quite a few bad habits as far as going to speaking properly and announcing and stuff like that. But oh well, we'll see how we go. It's all amateur week, for me at least anyway. So I've decided to do Battletech Roguetech because I find the game absolutely interesting. There are so many things to fiddle with and do, and probably in my case procrastinate endlessly for hours over. But it is a really interesting game to watch and to play. I've seen Baradil do a lot of streaming and stuff, and I really admire his work. He does a great job, fantastic commentary and all those sort of things. I've seen a couple of others, yeah, fairly good, but even though there's quite a few that stream, yeah, it's just there still seems to be a lack of them, and I think it's a game that's actually worth having more people either streaming or doing recording and uploading to YouTube, and because it's just really interesting to see, different play styles and how other people and players go about how they, well, let's face it, go about how they operate their mercenary companies. Because it's probably what appeals to me a little bit more than MechWarrior Online is the fact that you're not just piloting one, but you're able to, it's the whole, building up your lances and doing improvements and managing the finances and working out where you're going to go next and what gear you need next and who you're going to... probably the hardest part sometimes is in this game is like, you go to start off and it's like, well, where the hell do I start off? The map, even if it was a limited map, it's still like, holy cow, there's so many planets, places, and alliances and all that sort of stuff going on. It's a bit hard to determine like where you kick off. So what I've done is, for my first one, is I've chosen to start off in the periphery. Like, I've read a lot of the Battletech series of the books, as well as reading up a little bit online on like there's quite a bit of Battletech lore on SanaNet, things like that. So when deciding where to start off, everyone, a lot of people start off on the mercenary planet. Some, quite a few probably kick off on the I can't think of the damn name off the top of my head. Where the competitions happen. The name absolutely escapes me right now, but I'll probably kick myself later going, you idiot, it was such and such. Solaris, that's where it was. I knew it'd come to me. Thank God it didn't time while I was actually recording. Alright, so we're starting off in the periphery. The game, when you kick off, we'll go into the settings and find it and show how I've actually set this up. Okay, so the difficulty, I've started off 4 parts for the mech assembly. Yeah, like, I could have gone for 3 to make it move a little bit faster, but the thing is with this game too is, from what I've heard, they've actually changed slightly the amount of money or C-bills you get back for salvage and scrap. Now, I haven't found out or worked out as to whether it's because you're selling the parts individually, or and you're not getting as much for them as an individual part after salvaging, or is it you get poor return on small parts that you've, well, parts of a mech, or you actually still get decent money if you've assembled the 4 parts of the mech and sell it as a whole. I haven't determined that part yet. I haven't played. I haven't heard anyone sort of watching some of the other video recordings and streams. I haven't seen anyone actually say yes or no as to what it is, and I haven't even looked it up. I know, dumbass me, slack ass for not doing some research before recording, but I'm sort of hoping you still get all right money if you assemble a mech. But the thing is when you assemble a complete mech, especially out of multiple spare parts you have in your storage, that can be a little bit expensive, and then when you go to sell it, you may not get your money back. So it'll be interesting to see how that actually works out. Now, with this, I've actually got friendly fire neutrals. I'm going to go a little bit dangerous. Now, I was playing. I did try recording it earlier, and I stuffed the sound up on it, and you couldn't hear my voice properly over everything else, especially when you were playing on YouTube. So, I was playing at neutrals with friendly fire. Now I'm going to make it all friendly fire. I know I'm probably going to shoot myself in the foot, which is friendly fire is probably quite possible. Now the other thing I've got to look at is contract difficulty variants. Now I had this on 2, and because I'm starting from periphery, I'm going to be starting with lances. I'm going to try and build up to 4 lances. Now the problem with that is, most people usually work on 1 lance, and then they might expand to 2. Now I'm going to try and build 4 lances. Now what this has to do with this is, what happens is when you go into the missions to see what missions are available, what I've noticed is when I had it on this, like you might get, 15, 20 missions on offer, and they'll vary from half skull, where you start off, to 2.5 skull. And I found that there wasn't enough missions available to try and build up your lance. Like you might get 4 half skull missions, some 1 skull, another 4 1 skull, 4 and 4 1.5. And when you're starting this deep in the weeds, it's not enough missions. You actually run out of missions, and you've got to try and move to another planet, which you may not be able to afford to do, or it just takes too long, or various reasons you can't move on. So I'm going to change this to 1 variance, so that way I'll get a heap of missions that'll go from half a skull to 1.5 a skull to really get that kicked off. Mech recovery chance, I'm still going to leave that at 50%. Contract difficulty variance. Now I've got mine, but this based on the planet difficulty, not the lance difficulty, because what can happen is what it does is it takes, from what I understand, it takes your top 4 or 5 mechs, and if you have it based on your lance, it'll take the top 4 or 5 of your best mechs and then add an extra difficulty onto that. Now that becomes a bit, hang on a second. Now that becomes a bit of a difficulty if you're still trying to build up, like I'm going to attempt to do, 4 lances. Now obviously if your starting lance are going to be almost always your best lance. So if you get that lance up to the point where they might be able to handle a 2 or 3 skull mission, but the problem is your last lance that you finally assemble together, they're not going to be able to handle something like that. I mean, obviously you'll still work, top to bottom. As you improve your first lance, any good mechs, you'll push down to your, it's like the old hand-me-down situation where your second lance will get, whatever cast-offs that your first lance have got, and so on and so forth. So, by the time that works, feeds its way down, your 4th lance may only still be able to handle half skull missions, and yet your primary lance will be 2.5. Now, in saying that, that's where that contract difficulty variance might come in handy of changing later on. So you've got that wider spread of contracts, so that way you're not having to shuttle around to every, like you're going to get bored out of your brain because you're trying to, you've got, mechs that can handle 3 skull missions, and yet your fourth lance can only handle half skull, and yet, you've got to sit on a planet that's, only a one skull planet, and you're not getting enough variance to keep you occupied no matter which lance you're playing with. So changing the variance to 2 skulls, well, obviously you can do that. So these things you can modify during the game and at any point. It's only the parts for mech assembly you can't change. It can only be as it says here, it can only be modified against that. So this being able to be variable throughout thing is a good thing. So at the moment I'm going to have it at 1. I'm going to try and get as many mechs together as I can. So in saying that, we'll move along. So salvage will be normal. Would be nice to be generous. I'm definitely not going to go to bloody stingy because the game's hard enough as it is without making, especially when you're trying to build. If you're only running 1 lance and intending to run only 1 lance, stingy you might want to do, hard payment. But yeah, no. And then you got generous, normal, stingy, and cheapskate. I like how they put cheapskate in there. Yeah, no, we'll leave that at normal. Commander experience points, I'll leave that. Advanced mech warriors often. I'll leave that. That's fine. Running higher chance, 50% random chance. Pilots per system 5. Hopefully I won't kill them off fast enough. Too fast that I'll need to replace, them that often. Mech warrior progression, normal. Exponent, I'm going to change that to normal. Lethality, normal. Mech warrior multiplier, I'm going to change that to normal. I want everything pretty well normal. Change it to normal. Starting money, 2.5 mil. We'll probably burn through that pretty quick. Mech Bay sea bills. What's that for the cost, is it? Mech Bay seal, yeah, normal. Mech Bay armor speed, normal. Prices. So we've got a we've tweaked a little bit of difficulty. Do we do it? And that'll be because I changed the friendly fire. Do we leave that or do we go to neutrals? Because that'll change. See how that just disappears then? How? Oh God, how much of a risk to it? It's 0.05. Everyone's going, go on you wuss. Have a go. Yeah, fine. I'll do it. I'll probably bloody regret it, but anyway. Oh, pardon me. So, alright. Now, we'll go to the store and see what joyous things that we've got here. It's not really bolt-on rockets. Large laser, LRM-20s, rocket 15s, some engines. +2, sometimes MOSRM double. Yep, okay, nothing really fantastic there that I'll makes you want to jump out and go, oh God, buy that. Not just yet. Alright, anyway, command center, barracks. Okay, let's have a look at our pilots that we scored. We've got Echo. What has she got? Criminal, periphery, commoner, convict, sort through, not, yeah, simply imprison the accused, and okay, so we're not going to get too wobbly over her. She's got 5 guts already, so she's candidate for any melee mech at the moment. She's already got this. Braces after melee and DFA. +1 to initiative, injury, and melee resist. So obviously that's going to make her pretty fast candidate for that. So athletic and Infinity here is athletic, periphery, Taurian commoner. Yep, no extra bells or whistles. Here's Junker, the main Junker. Let's change his name. Junker. Let's call him... I'll just call him Rigger. That makes it a bit easier, I think. Okay, we're going to boost up his stats to... I usually do this to... I try and get everyone to 4 to start with. And he's got... Oh, he's got one more. Oh, okay. That's interesting. What are we going to do? Oh, mate. Let's make... Gunnery. Yep. Badly need gunnery when you first start. Right. Shivers. Now, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 recruits here. I want to try and keep the expenses down, as every, accountant would probably want to do. We're employing too many people. Sack someone. Yep, cool. So I want to get rid of. Now this bloke's a bit of a disappointment because he's got the word klutz on here. Now on a playthrough I did, start of a playthrough I did before. Yeah, he does. Pilot, the skills are so low. We don't need any extra help in that area. Even though he's got merchant and command experience, which give really good bonus. Do give good bonuses. Yep. Good boy, old mate. Get in that flick. So Shivers, what's she got? She's athletic and spear, Curidan. So what does that give them? Less fatigue. Be interesting to see if maybe her, if I get a second melee mech, or maybe a scout. Would that be of any use? I'm not quite sure. Some of these can be really interesting as to what you can end up with and what where it actually helps. So, okay, dependable. Periphery, like I want to get rid of one more. I mean, I'm not really fussed on ones with criminal tags because there's a few encounters in transit that, yes, all of a sudden, they're stealing something, they're buggered off, you've done all the training, goodbye, they suddenly leave and you never see them again. But I'm going to take the risk on her because she's already got the guts here. So Venom is nobility is mood changes based upon funding. Makes you get a little bit nervous thinking, is their morale going to drop at a thing? And even though it's all scripted language in the back, yeah, you still get 6 pilots whinging and sooking in the background. So I'm just, hell, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. If you don't like it, play your own game. So that's what we end up getting stuck with. That's yeah, so she's got 3 gunnery, got one with 5 gunnery. The other 3 have got 2 gunnery each. Infinity has 3 piloting, 5 guts, 2 and 3, and all their tacticals on 2. So we're starting at the bottom of the bush here. So alright, now here's the Mech Bay score. We got a Helepolis, Nakaris, a rifleman, and 2 El Toros. When I was thinking about this before recording all this, I thought of all sorts of weird and funny, Spanish jokes to do with El Toro and having a pilot named Miguel, especially out of Monty Python. Everyone can picture Miguel, but yeah, let's see if I get too mentally stupid and actually go doing some of those dumbass jokes while we're trying to play. But anyway, onto the mechs. 75 tonner. We've got a howitzer 2000. Takes rifle, ammo, heavy rifle. Well, that nearly spoke another language then. Now, this is where some of it really gets curly. Like, the pilots have already got low skills as it is. And here we are with FCS primitive, -1 extended range and long range accuracy, primitive cockpit. Now, on the previous trial, Oh boy, that made a big difference. It was surprising. -1 piloting. I actually had one full take a swing and not only miss her target, but then fell ass up over tit and then laid there. And you think, oh, that's pretty bad. Oh no, it got worse. When it come to a stand-up roll, after like her next turn, she failed the stand-up roll and died because got hit the first time round because it fell, and pilot injuries because she fell flat on her back. And then, to add insult to injury, missed the piloting roll. And because there's not much armor on these things, got stomped. And it's like, oh, excellent. And because there's no ejection seat, couldn't eject. It's like, brilliant. And it's like, so if you're thinking I've restarted this because of that, no, it's not that at all. It's actually, I did do some previous recordings and did upload. So if anyone had seen those, you might have actually, been able to experience the not being able to hear my voice quite clearly enough, and haven't, even though you cranked it all up. So that was the real reason why I'm redoing these initial missions, because I thought, the one thing you want to do is be able to actually hear what the person's saying and, clearly understand what they're going on about. And I was sort of, basically it sounded like I was mumbling in my invisible beard. It was that shocking. So everything else seemed to be alright. I was quite, I did watch all my own videos while I was away at work, and I was fairly happy with it. But that was the one thing that really irked me, was the fact that I couldn't quite clearly hear what it is exactly what I was saying. Even though I was concentrating on the game, you do have a tendency to speak a little bit lower. But that was the one thing. And I'm hopefully, now that I haven't gone berserk and gone the opposite way and actually blown the hell out of everyone's ears. So I'm going to upload this one and test it. I may only do this initial one. The other problem I found too was the fact that it took ages. The Australian internet service isn't exactly what you call primo, even though we certainly pay enough money for it. And uploading, some of the videos were going for an hour and a half, and uploading them took absolutely forever. I was actually having to go to work and getting my wife to just oversight the uploads. And even then, it still didn't upload the fifth video in the series. And I'm like, that's it. And then I watched the others, and like, I couldn't wait to get home, even though it was 4 days away until I got home. It's like, I couldn't wait to get home so I could delete the damn things. And I've actually saved one, so if anyone wants to inflict some punishment, I'll make it, send a message or leave a comment, and I'll make it public again, and you can listen to see how bad it was, and then you'll go, okay, it was crap. So we'll see how we go. Right, so with all that, it was a good opportunity too. Hang on, I'll shut up for a second. I'll just finish this off. All right, so that's, and then sensors primitive. Yep, got to upgrade those. That's going to be very important. Armor primitive, again, is the same. As you can see with the, was it the structure of the armor? Has it changed again? It was 0.67%. The armor, even when you had it at full armor on positions, because it was primitive armor, you had a loss of a multiplier of 0.67 or something like that. And so even though you were a full armor, you actually were only still at 2/3 of normal armor if you were to salvage a mech anywhere else. So this primitive is like really primitive. Right, so there's that. It's got an engine core, but they're not the engines, and it's a primitive engine. So you got a plus 20% engine weight factor. It affects your visibility, your sensor signature, and that doesn't quite tell you what it is, but I'm sure reading that it means minus 10% armor. This costs to repair armor, but no, I don't know whether it affects your actual armor itself. Interesting. So anyway, this guy's got the howitzer on, a medium laser, and see, even this medium laser, That's what it must be, an agricultural laser or something or other. Agra, I assume, possibly. -1 accuracy. This large one is a +15 heat. So both these large lasers are the same, plus 15% heat. So your heat management you've got to really watch as well with this. The only good advantage I like about it is the fact it's got its SRM-6, which is sort of my favourite go-to short-range missile launcher. Okay, so that's the Helopolis. I'll probably pronounce it 6 different ways. I've already done it 2 different ways, so let's see how many I can achieve on that. The Icarus. I was raving about this mech last time, and I lost the damn thing in the first 2 missions. Hopefully, I might actually get to save it a little bit longer. Okay, so it's still suffering from the same issues in here. And here. Has SRM2s, yay. But the thing I like about this mech is it's got 2 ballistic points. It has 2 laser points here. It has 2 missile points. And it has 2... Was it close weapon? Support weapon hard points. It's not... yeah, okay. Which is your, small laser, as you can read, small laser machine gun and flamers. And it has improved targeting for short range. So, as a natural quirk for this mech chassis. Now, this is the sort of mech hardpoint layout I like, because you can do anything with it. Like, okay, I can set this up as a melee mech to start with, a light melee mech perhaps, or I can set up as a scout. I can set it up as a medium range, short range, even long range, light mech chassis. So I like this. I really like this sort of setup for medium mech. So enough of me raving on and dribbling over that. The Rifleman. Let's have a look at the Rifleman. Now, this one has 4 laser hard points and 2. Let me get the phrase. Support weapon hard weapon. So this one would be, now you can get a fuel cell core or something for it, and it gives you a bonus of cooling as far as for heat, which would be really interesting to chuck in this puppy, and then to see what laser weapons we can really crank on this as far as heat and sinking and management and stuff. And I don't mind this 2 and 2, because even if you don't have good heat management and you can only use 2 at a time. The good thing I like about it is the fact is because it's even. If you lose this 2, you've still got this 2. So you can still fight, and you haven't lost. The ones I really dislike is where they have all the weapons on one side. I mean, yes, you can use this side and turn and shield, but sometimes it doesn't actually always work, because you're trying to hit with this side, but then you're trying to twist and hide the damage, and then once they blow through all that, you can't spread the damage because you'll lose that, and it just ends up, can be a little bit of a, oh god, this is going to be a pain in the bum. So I don't mind this. I'm looking forward to, and it's got anti-air targeting, so it's that +1 +1 evasion ignore quirk. It's a bit different. Never seen that, and that's what's so interesting about this game. I have played quite a few different games of this, and all of a sudden it's like, oh hell, I didn't know it had. You could have something like that. It's interesting. Right, now we've got the 2 Toros, and these have double missile, 1 laser, 1 close weapon support. It is close weapon support. Yes, that'll do. Otherwise, if I screw myself up. 1, so it'll be interesting. And then they're both 35 tonners, so, and jump capable, very jump capable. So maybe light scouts until the main force arrives, and then they fall back and shoot from a distance. Not quite sure how much weight we can put on here, because that'll be ultimately dependent on how much we can lighten them up using better armor and stuff, and still be fairly, modestly tanky. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see how we go with that. So what I'm going to do here, I only need 4 mechs at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to store one of these. For now, keep our expenses down. As you can see, it's just jumped up a bit there, which is nice, wonderful, lovely, beautiful. Getting rid of a couple of pilots also keeps our expenses down. Now that's the biggest thing with this game is the fact that I've seen quite a few people play, and I've done it myself. Like you know, one mission it'll be like oh well. Go for all the salvage, and I might do that for the first couple of missions myself because we just, as far as storage components, we've got absolutely utterly, that's it. That's all we got. Ammo, equipment, woohoo, yeah, awesome. Cupboards bare, virtually. So we've got no spare parts and upgrades and stuff like that. Now I might do that for the first couple. Now the problem is okay, we've got bays 1 to 3 here. Now the part of the problem is if we manage to salvage 4 parts. Okay, it's going to automatically assemble and put it in this spot here, which is fantastic. But for you to be able to store it, if it's been damaged, you've got to repair it first, right? So there's your first problem. If you're running low on funds and you need that spot for whatever reason, you can't put it in there until you've repaired it, which, depending on how damaged it is, some of them can be damn expensive to repair. Lighter mechs aren't as expensive, but larger mechs get hideously expensive to repair before you put it in storage. And sometimes, if this is full, if you've already got 2 in here, you might have to try and pick the lesser of 2 evils and scrap it because you can't get it off here, and you might want to bring one back that you've got in storage. And if you haven't got any spots here, you're absolutely stuck. And this is the other problem too, is even when you do get a mech and you've repaired it and you want to upgrade it, you've got to have the spare cash to, when you refit your mechs, you've got to have the money to put stuff in. And like I said, the lighter mechs is not very expensive, but if you're going to fit endo steel or even on the rifleman, if you go to put that, I wish I could remember what the name of the actual engine was. It's a fuel, I think it's a fuel cell engine, don't quote me on it, but it's something like that. To fit that into the rifleman is a million C-bills straight off the bat. That's not even fitting any endo steel or nothing else. Well, obviously it'll depend on the settings you put in there as to how expensive things, but I've got everything set as normal to give everyone a bit of a gauge as to which way it'll go. But when you do that, like, it's just, so you've got to really keep the C-bills up. I'm hoping to try and keep, we're at 2.5 mil at the moment. Now we've got to spend some stuff on the Argo to keep things up. So, and that's the other thing. You're not only trying to rebuild your mechs and all that, you're also trying to expand all the features on the Argosy as well. And some of them are like, not a mil's just gone. So you've got to really keep playing both parts of it. Right, so here we are at for the Argosy, or the Argo. Is it Argosy or Argonaut? I'm thinking of Argosy, probably like damn trucks, because I don't have trucks for a living. So, right, so I'm going to go for this one because this gives us +2 morale and +1 tech point. So,
Roger that, Commander.
And it's not that expensive. So, because our morale at the moment's down, bad, 11. Alright, so now we're going to go to navigation.
Hello, Commander. The Argo may not be
So you can tell
functional
I've
yet,
just,
but
reloaded the game recently again, because you get that every time. Okay, so we've started here in the periphery. Now we've got the Magistry of Canopus here. Yep. And this is the Oregon Coalition. Now, if anyone's played the vanilla game, this is where you kick off from, roughly. So what we're going for here is, we're actually, now if you're, and it's highly recommended too, by the way, play the vanilla game, do the Oregon career or campaign mission first, before you even start using the Roguetech mod, because you need to know how everything basically works, because this all expands on it. So it's a bit of a slog at times, but if you work your way through it, you can definitely play Roguetech take it easy on yourself, because even this part will even get everyone. So getting back to this, the campaign, when you start the campaign in the vanilla mode, it starts off the princess, I can't remember her rotten name, Cameo or whatever her name is, like, you get the sense that they've met somewhere before. And the funny part is when you play this, and you start off in this section, see where it says Aurigan Coalition? You actually meet her in some of these missions. And so the timeline for this, I'm gathering, is basically this is the part where you've met her in doing some of these missions before the evil uncle, tries to overthrow her reign and take over the Aurigan Coalition. So that's where this starts off. So up here we've got also, not going anywhere up there. Get out of it. Let's go back to navigation, you idiot. Okay, so this is the Capellan Confederation and the Free Worlds League, and this is local governments right here. Okay, so what I'm trying to do, or attempt to do, is build up alliances. I haven't done this. That series of that career or that campaign to do with the Aurigan mission is now a Flashpoint. The Roguetech team have converted it to a Flashpoint. So you can replay it. And I'm interested in replaying it using the Roguetech mod. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Because I remember there was some missions in there like, when you're starting off playing the game, and this is interesting, starting off playing the game the first time in vanilla mode, some of those campaigns are pretty tough. I mean, some of you might be the, whiz kids and like, oh, I found it real easy. It's like, well, we're a few. I really sucked at some of them, and there was many a tearful reload. So I'm going to go through that, and I'm going to find, and now that I know how to play the game a lot more and how to set things up, especially with the Roguetech stuff, there's so many whiz-bang stuff you can use and setups and stuff. I'm really interested and intrigued to go back through, see if I can go through the kit. Hopefully they got all of them, but also there was some really good cash bonuses in there. Obviously some of it's not going to happen because you've already got the Argo. You start off with the just the Leopard dropship that's attached to the Argo. And then during the game, you get the Argo and all sorts of things happen. So, no idea how that's going to work out, but it'll be interesting to say the least. So once we do that, who's this mob? Oh, it's the St. Ives Compact, all right. Okay, once we do that, hopefully, we're going to work our way up. Hang on, I'm just having the computer doing something really weird ass for some stupid reason. Birmingham, Windows. Huh. Why should I be surprised? Alright, so now what I would like to do, and this is many, many missions from now, I'd imagine, is work our way up to what's called the deep periphery, which I sort of knew and didn't know. That brings us up to here, clan space. All these little different clans all up here. And there's a heap of stars that all go all different ways and do all sorts of things. So that'll be interesting to see. Like I'll concentrate on this part to start with, and then we'll go up the Exodus Road to clan space, and then we're going to come back again. Hopefully we'll be mega rich because it's very expensive to travel in this game. And then the Battletech series line goes back to the Wobbies, the Word of Blake. Because Comstar does get, I know, spoiler alert, Comstar splits between the Word Blake and the Comstar themselves, and then the self-defense SLDF Star League Defense Force. Hang on a second. Sorry, a bit of a ticklish throat from all the yapping. The Star League Defense Force gets recreated, and the Word of Blake split, and then everyone sort of all joins up and then go and hit the wobbies again. So it'll be interesting. When I was reading the series, they had some really massive gear in from the Word of Blake, as I understand it. So it'll be interesting to see how, if that stuff was included or not, or created, or hard to say. So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. But that's the general plan. Now, Roguetech is still under beta, so it has, when they've developed some of these parts of it, the save games have broken. So what I'll do is, if that happens, I'll try and revive a game or whatever, but if that happens, and hopefully it doesn't, depending on where we are up here, I might end up restarting a game, like continuing the game, but restarting from up here somewhere, instead of having to endlessly repay from scratch just to get to where we were. But hopefully that won't occur, but we'll just see it. I might end up calling it. If this is finished, then I'll call, and a save game breaks, I might restart something else and then just continue, continue the storyline in a way, but we'll just see how it goes. And then on another playthrough, I want to do, from the other side, clean space down. So it'll be interesting to see which one, how that all pans out and works out. So we'll just leave that for now, but that's the general gist of the idea of what I'm planning to do. I just want to have a look at something here. I should have, again, done this before. Now, I heard something about
Yes, Commander?
Samir. Navigation. No, it's not that.
Commander?
Darius Yanks. Para.
What you need?
Nope.
Keep
not
safe,
there.
boss.
Did hear something? Maybe they removed it or it changed. There was something where you got, when you dropped, you also got fighters as well. And obviously I should have checked. But some people are stupid. Yay, vote for me.
What you need?
Oh, we just did Farah. Go to Twitter. Wouldn't be her. Oh, no, that's the tutorial. I don't want the tutorial. Oh, hang on. Let's try.
Don't be a stranger, Commander.
Let's try Samir again.
Yes,
It was
Commander?
Darius. Oh, I found it. Okay. The Leopard is a drop ship. Gunnery crews can keep light resistance at bay, but serious opposition means you have to pull back, wait for a better window. A wing of aerospace fighters, yes, could help both cases, though. Fighters could open a path for me during insertions or keep back ground forces while we're loading. Getting a pair makes it less likely they'll run off if it gets dangerous. So, and what are the options? Okay, originally in the vanilla game, you'll notice that when you drop and you're up against opposition, some of the mechs they don't have full armor. So these ones now, apparently it's got changed where they've got full armor, but some of their weapons are offline. So, so this sort of bring it back. Hang on, we can pick up a light, medium, or heavy wing. We have room to dock them to the Leopard, and we can find bunks for the pilots. We also need a tech or two. I wouldn't trust the Yanks. Alright. You nasty woman. Okay, bigger is better, right? So heavy wings sounds like the best choice. Best in space. Dirt cycle. Protection when loading. Leopard suffers 80% of ground damage. 100,000 a month maintenance. What's the light ones? What's the coverage while you're loading? Maybe I've got this ass about face. What's the medium ones? What's the option? Try this, see if it actually does what it says. Like you get some damage on the mechs. I know what the mechs looked like before, but or whether it actually doesn't do a damn thing either. It's just a cash sink. We'll see. Hang on, let's have a look at the finances. See if the aerospace medium wing. Argo operating costs. Okay. 32 tons. Seems a bit excessive. Oh yeah, the mech's in there as well. Okay, so we've covered the setup, the barracks, the Mech Bay, engineering, nav, and command center is next. Now there's not really much I can do with the mechs at the moment.
Nice to see you
as far as setting up any better for our first mission. There's nothing I can really remove or replace or increase, because sometimes you'll take some off the back to put on the front or move armor around, so I think we're just going to leave it for there for now. Okay, now just need to check. Just give me a sec. Okay, so due to the loading times or uploading times of this, I think I'm just going to pause it here for now and just call this the introduction, and I'll actually start the mission in the next episode, so that way if anyone finds this ultimately badly boring or whatever, they can just skip straight to episode 2 and yeah, get straight into it. Alright, well, thank you for watching for this first episode. I hope you've enjoyed it and been a bit informative. Giving you a bit of an outline as to what I'm planning and intending to do. And I will see you next time. Just don't forget, I'm on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and Twitch, although I haven't started streaming yet. So like, follow, subscribe, tick boxes, select notification bells, whatever. I'm more than happy for to be able to communicate with you, and I hope you really enjoy the future episodes, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye for now.